All right, I'm re-recording today's Medical Daily because the volume on the one I did Facebook Live just really wasn't all that adequate. So I'm just going to redo because it's just the right thing to do. So I get rose water. This is out of my seed and sickle deck. And you might be wondering, why am I using the seed and sickle deck? Well, one, I am looking for, in a divination sense, I am looking for elements or herbs and things within our system for my own personal way forward and healing. So I tend to use things that are of a natural modality anywhere I can. And I have been feeling deeply compelled to make rose water. I have yet to buy the darker little jars, and you want to use glass when you make waters. And I'm currently studying the decans, the 36 decans in our annual cycle. So we each have 10-day cycles, 36 of them, where our natural pattern unfolds. And I'm trying to kind of marry what's natural for me, how I can naturally heal, as I am a stage 4 cancer survivor. And obviously I'm still recovering from long COVID, so I tend to have a lot of phlegm in my throat. I'm still bringing it up. And I happen to have gotten throat cancer or thyroid cancer, where they've removed my thyroid, and I have a very bizarre kind of cancer. So none of what I've experienced so far falls into a normal medical kind of relief. So I have sought relief elsewhere. Now, what do we have here? Well, this is a really interesting board today in that I have my Neptune in Scorpio in the 10th house. So it is one that I'm a bit more familiar with, which is saying that in the collective, those of us who have this particular feature, the Neptune in the 10th or in Capricorn or in the executive branch, we're highly aware of the depths of despair happening within the collective. And I think probably a lot of light workers at this time are experiencing this. And so be mindful of that, because there's no real reason to stress yourself to death worrying about what might happen. And one of the ways that I personally deal with this, yes, I'm feeling anxious. Yes, I'm sensing trouble for sure. But one of the ways that I kind of collect myself is I walk into life and I say, okay, where am I at now? I'm in the here and now. And what's happening right here, right now? Nothing. Nothing's happening right here, right now. Take in a breath of air. Okay, I see the green from my beautiful, lovely jungle forest just outside my window. And I live on an upper story. I have all my windows open. I live in Hawaii. I get lots and lots of fresh air. Where I think that at this time that maybe a lot of us are in stagnancy in our air in a way. So this is suggesting in that sense. Now we're going to go one more. This is a house of action. It's cardinal. It's fiery. It's not fiery. It's earthy, and it's meant to be. It's meant to move. It's meant to have action. So the house of government. So right now, what's happening? Well, we're kind of learning some deep and hidden truths, and here we are experiencing these medical pandemics, if you will. I mean, I don't know where this is all going. I know that monkeypox was something I did a podcast in May about, that I was very concerned. And now we have monkeypox, polio, and COVID all kind of happening simultaneously. Is our health breaking down along with our mental health? Well, I'm sure it is. As above, so below, as within, so without. And not to mention that everything is reflective. I also see this board as having a little bit of extra water that wants to come up and swamp Earth. Now, does this indicate we could have a very large storm surge, hurricane, some sort of huge watery event? Yes, it does. So be mindful of that as well. And if you're in the lower areas and you have an earthquake, go to higher ground. I know that for myself, I've had a to-go bag packed for a little while, and I have my car set up that if I need to, I can camp. So, and I've been practicing just that. And I've been noticing, I just want to say, this is another interesting detail, how many of us light workers in the last few weeks have gone camping. And I find that amazing, but I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm watching these podcasts on TikTok and, oh, I'm camping or I'm out, doing this or that in nature. We need to recharge our batteries and keep them charged because we have things coming. We're going to be called upon. Maybe our time hasn't totally arrived, but yet, yes, it has. We are now gathering, and we are going to become the executive branch of things, the light workers. And don't let that go to your head, because I was thinking about the fact that why don't people like us run for political office? Well, we're not psychopaths, we're empaths. So let that sink in. And I can tell you, as an astrologer and a medical astrologer at that, a good many of them have a real challenge having the ability to be sensitive and aware of the need of the masses. That is just not something they have. Where light workers, you're going to see moon opposition Neptune squaring Mercury, where you're going to be thinking about the collective in some deep and receptive ways, where you're going to want healing upon the collective. And we're talking 4th, 8th, and 12th house, houses of mystery. And where we're seeing this house of mystery happening, and you can't get around the fact that there's Scorpio involved in this. So we're talking a lot of the major planets where you've got, and then it's going to be quincunx to the 3rd house, where we have Mars, kind of that aggressor in Mercury, wanting to just come in and kind of force its way through and outthink us. I think those days are over for the House of Government. I think the House of Government now has the real truth to contend with, that we want the truth and we are going to accept nothing less than the truth. And we will seek things outside of what we know. And I know for myself, this is very true. I no longer look to government, to medical doctors for my answers. I look from within myself, because each and every one of us has the formula. Someone else isn't walking around with your way through your issues in life, medical, emotional, it doesn't matter. No one else has that formula but you. So pay attention. And the Decan part of it, start writing down your dates. If you are born, say in my case, just to give an example, if you're born on the 12th of August, which I was, so the 12th through the 13th, or the 23rd, excuse me, and the 23rd starts my new Decan. So, and so on and so forth. And you start keeping track of that. You start finding out there's a lot more to your cycle than you're aware of. And right now for me, I have one coming up. And just keep this in mind. I have a Decan coming up in December that I get to Christmas time, and it is Christmas exact, that I just kind of fold like a cheap house of cards. I don't know what it is. It feels so dark to me during Christmas. It feels cold and dark and hurtful, as if we're celebrating something that is the utter opposite. Now, I'm not saying that it is. I don't really know. I know for myself, I have a depressive disorder that happens every year at Christmas time. And I would rather sit up on a countertop and rock back and forth and hold myself contentedly or uncontentedly as I get through the holidays. I just don't do the holidays well. And now, myself, I'm looking for ways to creatively not be tuned in to the darkness of that particular holiday. So with that, be about your self-care, be about self-awareness. Allow yourself to dig down deep into your deeper soul, into your hidden agendas, okay, the 8th house, and be about sensitivity and assisting in a higher calling, Neptune, to the masses, because we are, as I see it at this time, we're in trouble, but we're not. And it is time for us as light workers to step forward. But don't step forward in self-righteousness. Step forward in the light. And remember to be humble and to ask for guidance. None of us are above needing to be guided to do this work. And myself included, I do not give a reading unless I have said, okay, Spirit, guide me. I don't try to say, oh, because I'm an astrologer, I know. Because we do that, we wreck our reputations. We come with the truth or we come with nothing. Because we are only as good as our word. And with that, I thank you for joining me here today. Please do hit the like, share, and subscribe, and leave comments. Now, if you leave comments that are unkind, they never make it to my board. I filter all comments because I don't want to bring a moderator in. And I've said that before, but I just want to mention it again. And thank you so much for joining me here today.